Whoa! Relief. God, blimey. No, it isn't. No, it's not a huge fish, but a lovely fish nonetheless. A big 20, I think. Yeah. Incredible fight.
Why you've got that bait? That bait fish there. We'll have breakfast before they're here.
At least I showed you the courtesy of the take before the
Before you put it on.
before I put the sauce on the bacon sandwich. That's a good little device I bought from Tackle Box this week. A floating device that fits any landing net, and when you're playing the fish, your net floats alongside you.
Yeah.
Quite a useful bit of equipment, that.
Especially when you got weighed out like you have.
Yeah, that's actually the first time I've ever used it, and it's excellent. Right, let's have a look.
Can you manage? Yeah. I'd say 28 and a quarter.
Okay.
It's wavering a lot, and
Okay, we'll call it 28.
I'm sure you'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I'll just put some water in the sling,
Yeah.
let her recover a sec, and then we'll do some photographs over there, yeah?
Okay, mate.
Give you the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We started yesterday evening, no joy through the night, but this lake doesn't really fish at night at all. And the first take this morning, 28 pounder.
Looks in lovely condition, that fish.
Yeah.
Lovely colour, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's get some of this side.
There we are. Beautiful golden scales and a gorgeous orange tail. Beautiful golden scales, one single scale there, a full scale with a little one on the end, and we'll see if we can identify her in my album. I've kept records for the last 7 years, and I think I can trace her to just a very low double.
Right. Excellent.
These slings are fantastic. Just been put on the market without plugging somebody. I do pay for them, but Fox, they've got a quick release in for returning the fish. They're very safe for weighing them and carrying them back to the lake.
Yeah, they are superb, aren't they?
I'll just hold her in the lower her gently back, but if we just lift her up for the camera. There she goes. Perfectly treated. Ready to fight another day.
Well done, mate.
That gets them on the way. There we go, we're off the mark. Hi chaps.
Good morning, Robert.
How you doing?
All right.
And then here we have Brett and Derek Bullock, the superstars of the Syndicate.
Well, that's right, yeah.
Oh, just a minute.
That's right.
No, it's not his granddad, this is his dad. this is number one son.
Yes,
No,
one and only.
He
I hope.
normally looks a bit better than this. He's been here a few days.
Now that-
hasn't he?
Yeah. No, nothing.
These boys are original members from the very first year, and they're top rod year after year after year.
Good bait.
Yeah, good bait, good bait.
Good-
main line, main line.
Good rods.
Oh, yes. KM rods, the only sad plugs on the video. Now then, we want to ask them a few questions, don't we?
Yeah, I'd like you to tell me two things. You're the most successful anglers on here. Just name one or two things that you put your success down to. What's your little secrets on this water? What's the most important things? Just a couple.
I think the first thing is definitely watching the fish exactly where they are location-wise, first thing in the morning, and not so much having the bait in position when they're there, having it there ready the next morning. It's paid a lot of dividends.
Right. So even though it's a heavily stocked water, location is still very, very important.
The tiny spots, yeah, not so much an area, the tiny spots, watching where you see them and then fishing that spot over a 24-hour period, that's generally when it goes.
But sometimes
You know.
having your bait there before they arrive.
Yeah. And logging it in your head, and then fishing them spots consistently.
So what you're saying is when they're in a particular spot, providing no one's fishing that area, they'll stay there and they'll keep feeding.
That's right.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And you haven't got to rush in there straight away. You can set your trap the next morning.
That's right. Or set it there and then it'll go on in the next feeding spell. You know.
Yeah.
Say you cast to it and it spooks and nothing happens. You find if you leave it in that spot, it will go.
So would you agree with me? You know the lake more than me, but what I've found is like a high percentage of the lake you cannot or do not catch fish. Maybe 70% of the lake doesn't produce fish.
That's right.
Maybe more.
And spots we caught well from last
yeah.
year no longer produce.
Right.
So it's like a learning curve every season, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you
Different
had that hit, them 9 runs, I fishing the next swimmer I only had 2. He was.
And you're on the same baits and rigs.
That's right,
It's
same
just
everything.
the spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he's a little bit better angler than
that
you.
swim.
No.
Yeah, no, I'll vote to that. I'll vote to that.
Plus,
Yeah.
Family feud.
that swim hadn't produced a lot up until then. It produced that week. Dave Chancellor did quite well out of it early week, and then I got in there and caught back end the week, but it hadn't produced a lot from the start, you know.
Right.
And that was early August.
But to get it in perspective what they actually catch, we've been talking about this morning, since the start of June, they've had over 35 30s between them, right, including 3 or 4 40s, almost £50.
He's had the 40s.
I mean, I remember when, you know, I fished all season for 30, and if I caught one, it was phenomenal, and that's not in the too distant past.
Yeah.
35 30s they've had off this complex this season, which is
excellent.
exceptional, isn't it?
Well done, boys.
Very good.
Yes,
All right.
we appreciate that, Rob.
They are stroke pullers, though, I have to tell you that. Should they apply for any other syndicate? KM at his organised best. Got a pair of wellies on, and it's knee deep in the margins.
Good old Martin. I knew we'd make use of you coming round. Hang on. Oh. Jubbly. Let's go get them, boys.
I think we'll take the
Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not.
take the mattock to the side of the road, Martin, probably out of the way.
Get that slug off. That slug weighs an ounce.
Oh, I zeroed it with the slug. How much you give me if I eat that?
You're probably that hungry you'd eat it anyway. Swallow it. Oh.
For some reason it's slimy.
You never put it in your mouth?
Yeah.
Oh, no. You great.
Martin said he'd give me £100 if I did.
Right. Pay up, Martin.
No, you have to swallow it.
How come it's so slimy?
Go on then. It's a beautiful new 30.
And you can see from the condition of this fish that Rob's policies pay off. Just look at it, absolutely immaculate, all over. Beautiful fish.
Yeah.
We'll get her back now, I think. Lovely fish. Let's turn him round the right way. This way, but that's it, between my legs. Adios, amigo.
Morning, Kev. You're on the phone to your wife and you had a run. So obviously you put the phone down. I thought I could hear a voice coming from your billy. So you abruptly cut her off, did you? That's the goal. Yeah, a bit serious on here with the average weight, 33 pounds. I'm not trying to make you nervous, but if it's coming in scale, it's confident. You already made me nervous. Baby mussel. Oh, I'd like that to show later. Look at that. A baby mussel. Now, obviously they don't eat the big ones, but they definitely eat those baby mussels in abundance. That contributes enormously towards the weight gains that it's achieving, I think. Yeah.
He's a solid boy as well.
He's never coming out.
Yeah. Couple of tiger nuts.
Hey, solid as well.
Yeah. They're the big boys, aren't they?
So just throw that rod against the
sorry.
Right, the moment of truth. I'll say 36.
No, 34. 34.
Can you take it to the camera?
I'm pretty good at this.
Oh, no.
No, 31.
31.
It's still a 30 and it's still a fish. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
There we are. 30.
Not that easy to get out of it,
31.
It's not one
31.
or 2 runs a day, actually.
There we go. Well done.
Beautiful, Jess. Good lad.
31.
Cheers.
Probably another new 30.
Walk on it, all right.
Cheers,
I
Kev.
thought it was custom that the angler got the water as well.
Oh yeah, it comes after.
First fish.
Take your first fish from the lake?
Yeah.
Aye. Lovely
What a
fish.
start.
What's with the bandana, Simon?
My head went a bit cold earlier
Got a
on.
love bite on the
Is that
top of
another
his head, Rob.
Yeah, one more.
Let's get it back, boys.
Brilliant.
It's interesting, he's caught it on tigers, feeding amongst little tiny mussels like that.
Yeah.
They're not dissimilar, are they?
No,
not
Crush
at all.
the size of those tigers, those
Yeah.
giant ones.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about,
Cheers
mate.
for that, anyway,
Bit of
lads.
nutritional value in those.
FM.
FM. Caught on an FM. Well done, Jess. You better phone your wife back, mate. I think she's still talking to herself in your bivvy.
She probably don't realise you're gone if she talks a lot.
Been obliged by Graham. He's only just arrived, hasn't he? Been here about an hour. What can you say to that? That's what you call a paddle. Oh. It should be mid-40s. Oh, it's only a little handle. What's it weighing?
45. Between 45 and 45. If you fancy.
What next?
Well, it should be about that to do with the bar.
45 and a bit. Right.
Okay.
I don't know. Every fish that's never been caught, he'll catch it. He's a nightmare.
You can't take him nowhere.
It's the last time I vouched for him for anywhere.
You what?
The rod's off. The other rod's going in at the clutch.
Brilliant. Yeah,
The rod's off.
Oh, you great.
Alright.
you finished with the fish, ain't you?
Yeah.
You go and get it now, go on. Might be the big common this time.
Do you want to catch? His other rod's gone. Unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where that one is now. Yeah, that's just.
There's been 3 fish out in 2 days to everybody on the lake. Graham Jammy Mills has turned up. Been in half an hour. This is his 45 common, about to go back. We call it the small common because it's the smaller of the two. And as we're doing the photographs, his other rod's gone, so I've had to help him out with this fish. So he's over there, look, playing a fish in what we call the wheelbarrow swim. I'm just about to let this big girl swim off, so there she goes. There she goes. 45-4. And the chances are he's got another very big fish here. Whoa! She didn't want to give up.
No, I don't know what you're feeding these fish on, Rob, but it's doing them the world of good.
£30 2? Well, £30 3 or 4. So
Yeah.
Another new 30.
Excellent.
Great stuff.
Are we leave this film off alright, Greg?
Yeah, finish it off. We've got another gorgeous fish, haven't we?
Got an unusual shaped head.
This is the danger, Kevin, of fishing with all the other animals. So this is your second session on.
Yeah.
What have you caught?
3 30s and a 45.
Can't be bad.
No.
And what, how big were the 30s?
33, 31, and it's just over 30.
Can't be bad.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It's all about being in the right place at the right time, and that's what you've done today. Look at that. Gorgeous. Well done, mate.
Cheers,
Congratulations.
I haven't know, I forgot to put them on. I didn't have much of a rush to get here. It's the last thing on mind. Yeah.
Right result.
Good, mate.
With that, ain't he? Oh, God, what?
He moved into a swim. I don't know whether he knew they were there or not, but the fish had gathered there because there was no hanging pressure in that corner. he put his baits in really quietly. He set up like a mouse, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, the fish weren't there yesterday, were they?
No, they moved in there yesterday.
And you said to me before he caught, he's going to catch.
Yeah,
you were right.
About 20 minutes before.
And that Common is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that's a small one.
Yes, he's got to be feeling a little bit gutted down, isn't he?
I think so.
I don't
Yeah,
think he
well,
is.
well,
I don't
because
think
he moved out the
is,
swim?
He moved out the swim because the fish weren't there.
At the time he moved out, there maybe weren't. He had a 30.
I mean, I think of it now, where he had that 30 last night, I think that's fish moving down the lake to that end, on the move.
As you can see, I'm very particular about where the baits land. Obviously I know the fishery extremely well. I've fished the water for a number of years, and if it doesn't land in exactly the right spot, I'm not happy. I want it to be moved. But in saying that, I will sometimes sacrifice a little bit of inaccuracy to compensate for the disturbance of casting in the swim. If I can arrive and cast each rod once and get it right first time, I've got a major advantage over somebody who's thrashing the water, casting 6 or 7 times, putting a marker float in. That type of approach is a complete no-no on this lake now. If you put a marker float in, a bed of bait, cast to it, not get it right, cast to it again, it's all over, the fish have gone. So it's essential to use the lightest lead you think you can get away with and try and get the cast smack on first time. It gives you a major advantage. Right, well I've just cast my baits out, and since I've cast in I've had a fish roll over my middle rod, which is a major result in this lake. They have an incredible habit and knack of avoiding lines and anglers. So having got the baits in position, one rolling on the bait is a major plus. Normally they're rolling, and when you cast at them they disappear. So I'm quite confident now. Fingers crossed we might get a biggie soon. Well, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Had a bit of a storm last night, and fish woke me up rolling and crashing in the swim, and everybody on the lake's sitting on tentative hooks expecting a take, and I simply cast at one as it crashed out of the water and thought, why not, give it a go, desperation, and had a take within 20 minutes. So feels a heavy fish. Been playing it for 15 or 20 minutes now. Still out in the deep water, taking line. Actually got up at 4 o'clock, as I said, cast out. I forgot to take the bail arm off. My thumb's still throbbing. I thought I'd just confess to that one. Slight indication there of a casting mistake. It's certainly still a bit sore, but the recast did the goods, that's all that matters. She is. 30 plus pounder, probably. Yep, definitely I would say. They're still crashing out there, so who knows, we might get another one yet. Right, let's take her in and see what she weighs. One of the fish I said to Kevin I really wanted to catch on the video, I thought might be near 40 pounds. If you remember these scales, 3 and then around with a half moon. I'll show you in the album later. What can you see, James? 30, 38.12.
Yep.
Yep. 38.12. Wonderful. Woohoo! Great stuff. There she is. In all the glory. We'll put her back in the water just to get her to recover for a second. Let's have a look at you. You lovely lady. Oh yes. This is a very good idea. I mean, a lot of people do it, but make sure the mucus of the fish doesn't come off on you, because obviously that's its jumper to the fish. And to make sure you keep the fish wet at all times. You can see they're absolutely fin perfect, immaculate condition. Absolutely immaculate, every single one of them. And golden scales, not a blemish at all. Beautiful. So I mean, I think this fish only gets caught about once a season, so that does help. One last look at her. There she is. Absolutely awesome. Just hold her to recover a second. In clean water. There she goes. Strong as you like. Go on, girl. Fantastic. That's what it's all about. Oh, it's still only 5:30 in the morning. Just in the middle of telling a story. We've had an absolute screamer live, which is incredibly rare. We're in a bit of luck today, to say the least. We're into a big fish. But it's slow and heavy, which is a good sign. I've lost it. Damn. Oh well, that's the disappointments of carp fishing. Let's have a look at the rig. Just lost a very big fish. Well, it's been mullered away in the fish's mouth a bit. No real reason why I should have lost it, but we've just lost a big one. Never mind. Let's get another bait out. Damn. Don't get many chances on here. I've got the well-known Richie Allen trying to poach me out my swim.
Alan's phoned 3 times now.
He keeps telling me my wife's on the phone. Thank you, you're a gentleman. And we're into a fish. Picking the last run up live on camera. I decided not to wait this time, having lost a big fish, so we've gone straight into the action. Do you want to give Kev a shout, Rich, for me?
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. He's been asleep most of the morning.
You got one, mate?
He told me the Italian does nothing but swim slowly, Rich. Well, that's what this is doing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Swimming
With
slow.
the critter boy. Just knocking its head.
It's just moving slowly. Alright, she's just at the top, so she's getting tired. About 1:30 in the middle of the day, following the 38 this morning, and then that traumatic loss of a big fish following that live run. But these things do happen, I'm afraid. It's starting to rain.
Hey! You got the hippy shakes, mate. 31. Oh, I should call it 31.5.
Okay.
It's fluctuating so much.
Okay,
I'm
good.
sure you're happy with that.
Yeah, fantastic. I just put a bit of water in here. Actually,
Yeah.
I'll just get some. Just some little insect larvae. That's what they're feeding heavily on.
Is that your bait?
Beautiful golden scales. Yeah. Put it on an insect larvae hair rig. do the Taylor pose. Okay.
You want to turn it round?
Yeah. Okay. This is. That's how fat they are. A bit fat. Oh. Yeah, it's a typical Acton 30. Probably another new 30, I would guess.
Lovely.
Yeah.
getting wet now.
Yeah.
Arms in the water.
Wanted to make sure she was alright. Thanks to Poe, that was my 9th 30 of the season. And I only started 2 weeks ago.
1 week ago.
No, I started on Ringstead. And I had 3 30s on Ringstead and I had 5 30s and a 40 on Acton. Not bad.
Not bad.
Well, it could be my lucky rods, Kev, my new rods.
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
My new challenges with the...
That was the first place you used them, and this is the second place, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Obviously bring you luck.
Sure, that's Helen on the phone again.
Richie's trying to get my swing.
He'll be home in a minute, love. Yes. Yeah, he'll see you in about half an hour. Okay, Helen. Bye, love.
The lengths they go to, eh?
Yeah. Oh, this one's going well. Oh my word. That really did take the bait. It leapt out the blooming water when I got the bite. It certainly was upset about hooking itself. Well, just moved swim. Only been here about 2 hours. A few fish were rolling, so I moved swim. Obviously a good move. Let's hope it's a good one. I was on a bait dead in the middle of the lake. I've been fishing much shorter than the middle of the lake, but they've been rolling out in the middle lately. So the problem we have here at Acton is that wherever you put your lines across the lake, the fish sort of avoid that area. So I tend to fish as close as I can. And most of this session I've been fishing about quarter of the way out, but the fish I saw rolling this afternoon were out in the middle. It'd be nice if this is the Italian, and then you can have the common, all right?
Yeah, I'll do.
I'll be happy with the Italian. It's going to be near £50 at the moment. Certainly feels a heavy fish. Come together. Every fish is big in this lake. Struggle to get anything below about 26. Nearly every fish is 30, so they all feel big. It's not a big fish, it's certainly a fit fish. God, it's difficult to gain any line on it at all. That was a bit more pressure. Boy, did it.
Might not rest it.
I've been trying lately. Had 240s and 730s on them recently, and this might be another 40. No, it's not 40. Yeah. Good. That wasn't flashed to them, was it?
Just put its head towards me a bit, mate.
That is one good looking fish, that is. That is a well proportioned fish, that. Small fin, small tail, smallish head, deep body, very wide from on top. That's not going to be long before that's a 40-pounder. Fabulous fish, look at that. Let's make sure she goes back safely. There she goes. Turn right, that's it. Very shallow there, so it's rubbing the bottom probably. Well, there's the old carp nugget. I'm going to cast out the same one that I caught the fish on because it's not really damaged at all. And the fish are feeding, and I'm keen to get the bait out again anyway. So I'm just going to put it straight back out in the middle, fraction to the left of the first field swim. I will renew the bait later, but I want to get this one back out as quick as possible. I must try and get it in the same place as before, which was just to the left of the swim. Lovely. I haven't put any free offerings out since I've moved, because if you cast on the fish a lot and you put a lot of free offerings out, they just move away. So I've decided I'm going to bait up this evening. Fish don't feed here much in darkness, so I'll put the bait out tonight. So it's just hook baits out there at the moment. Just put the old illuminated swinger on. I'm fishing with the weights of these swingers well forward, so what I'm trying to do is fish fairly slack lines. I want my lines sunk and on the bottom. That's how I always fish this water. I'm using 10-pound line, as light as I can get away with, 2 1/4 rods, so 10 pounds quite safe. They are very line shy, very aware of lines in the water, so I like to fish with the lines tight on the bottom. And I actually have a shot about 4 foot up from the rig on the line, just to make sure that in the area of where the fish are feeding, everything is tight on the bottom. So, well, I'm happy now, but if another one comes along, I won't be complaining. These are Rob's photo albums, and the first ones we're looking at here show the lake's dry. Perhaps you can tell us a bit about that, Rob.
Yeah, well, first of all, we actually drained the lower lake. I'll show you the pictures in a second, and then this big lake, which we've been filming earlier on, 17 acres, we drained that completely dry. As you can see, that actually remained fallow for 2 years, which was actually by accident more than judgment, but it obviously reincarnated the lake completely, and now it's super rich.
So the delay was the problem of the stream not flowing enough to fill it up here?
Yeah, the flow of the water wasn't as great as I thought.
Right. Which helped in a way, didn't it? Because it's all weeded over and it became very rich, and then you flooded it, and it created a very rich environment for the fish. And what other shots you got here of de-silting and things like that? Well, these are shots of the
this is
the lake.
This is the lower lake, the first one we drained. And you can see here it's completely dry, only silt remaining. And the problem we had was some areas were more greatly silted than others, and we wanted to turn these into good feeding areas. So I bought in this equipment.
Right.
We bought in the high max and the big dump trucks, and these actually worked out in 3 or 4 feet of water in the lake. If I just turn the page, you can see there the machinery. It was actually terrible weather when we did it. We created a bit more mess than I'd hoped, but the machinery is working out there in a couple of feet of water, and they actually work 60 yards out into the lake in places.
And that's just de-silting?
Yeah.
Lifting the silt out, chucking it onto the bank?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the margins were only a few inches deep and very soft silt. And
and looking back on it, it was all definitely worth the effort. The growth was achieved, and not only that, these very areas now are hot spots. I mean, there's a lad up there now you know, baiting up in the very place the Hymax were once digging.
Right.
So it's all worked very well.
Yeah. Now these are the photo albums of the fish as well.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard of Acton, the phenomenal growth rates, and it would be nice to have a look at the progress of some individual fish. I mean, only this week we've had 2 new 40s, haven't we? The
Yeah.
lake's produced 2 new 40s.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder where it's going to end. The growth rates are phenomenal, and there's several 40s in both the lakes. And perhaps you can now show us 1 or 2 of the fish. You've stocked them at a very young age. You've kept photos of them from when? When did you start collecting photos?
Well, I didn't start keeping the records till 95. It may even been late 94, but if we just show you this as an example, I'm going to pick on the obvious ones where they're easily recognisable, but there you've got a fish which, as you can see, a very small fish, a cluster of scales, hence the name cluster. I mean, that's when it was first captured, and I took a photo of it in 94 at about 17, 18 pounds.
Yeah.
Now that progressed to not 25, it jumped to 29, it jumped to 33 here, then it jumped to 39 and then 40, and only last week it was caught at 43.
Right.
43 too.
That's the picture of it there, yeah.
That's the other side.
Last week. So you've got from double to 40s in how long? 4 years or?
Yeah, 4 years.
4 years.
So that's one of the better examples.
Right. Can we have a look at 1 or 2 others?
Yeah, for sure, a couple more.
Yeah. I mean, all of the fish in this album are all shooting up, aren't they?
Yeah, this is one that you caught live on the video. This was first taken a picture of as 21 when Dave caught it back in 95.
Yeah.
And then you see it went 22, 29. If you keep looking at the scales near the tail, you can see it's clearly the same fish.
Yeah.
And then you caught it live on film this summer in June.
37 and a half.
37 and a half. And that actually features on your Nuggets advert. You know, as you have said on the video, you generally caught all your fish on the Carp Nuggets.
Yeah.
And that's a picture of the fish that appears on that ad. So that's gone from 22 to 37 and a half in 4 years.
4 years, and we're talking about what, £15?
Yeah.
So that's over £4 a year on that fish.
Yeah.
Any others that we?
Yeah. Well, there's loads of examples, but a few of the better ones. Here's one that it was a very tatty-looking fish at 18 and a half when it first got caught.
Yeah.
If you see the 2 big scales near the tail. Now that's progressed. It started off slowly to 22 and then to 28 there. Jim Hindle caught the fish, then to 36 Ken Dallow, and then that's the one I'm referring to this one because it's the one I caught on the video as well.
Right.
And that was 38 and a half. I called it the video fish, but again, no name, beautifully scaled. So from 18 to 38 in 4 years, so that's £20.
£20.
It sounds a bit blasé, but we are actually going to be stocking fish under 30 this winter. There's not many left, but we're going to take out all fish under £30. So it'll be a 30.
I think that's important if you want the water to keep going, because even though you're not putting extra fish in, with the weights of all the fish going up and up and up, the biomass is increasing each year.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to retain these growth rates, then you do need to reduce the biomass every year. So that's great.
I mean, I'd love to challenge the record.
Might end up with 40s only.
Yeah, I'd love to challenge the record one day, and I think the members are quite happy of the fact that, you know, we've got 2 fish on £50 now, a mirror and a common.
Yeah.
We'd like to go to 54, 55 and challenge for the record. We've got to destock to do that.
Right.
The fish have got the potential of that, I'm sure. So we'll wait and see. Right, we're in the swims where we call the fish during the video, Kev, and I think it'd be nice if we could, you know, try and give a bit more informative information as to how you catch them. I mean, at the end of the day, you have this knack of rolling up and catching fish, and I think it's important that we tell the people watching, you know, how you catch them. It's all right watching people reeling them in, but how do you put them on the bank? I mean, you know, you came here with different rigs, different baits and different tactics. Particularly on this road bank, it worked very well for you.
Well, one of the things that helped me catch a lot of fish last year, I noticed that the carp were getting onto baits that had been in the lake for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Washed out baits that weren't very strong. Particularly after people left, the fish would then start jumping over that baited area. Probably happens in a lot of lakes.
Yeah.
And I noticed the takes I was getting were on baits that had been cast out a long time.
Mm.
So what I started to do, I started to use neutral flavoured boilies, so no flavour, just the boilie, and I found that quite successful. And I started to soak the boilies in lake water. At first, just in a saucepan next to the rods. When I was putting a new bait on, that had been in soak 24 hours, and I was getting a lot more takes. In the end, I was taking Acton water home with me, and 24 hours before coming here, I was putting my hook baits in soak in Acton water, and that really worked well for me. The fish were treating washed out baits as completely safe,
So
which they normally are,
right.
you know, and that caught me a lot of fish.
So that was fooling the fish into believing that the hook bait that you just cast out was actually a washed out bait that had been in a swim for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a starting point.
Yeah.
Obviously there's lots of small things, location of fish, and as I said earlier, keeping your line on the bottom. I was using as light a line as possible, 10-pound line. That's why I was using such soft rods. And why I use 15-pound line when it's an open water, no snags, soft rods, 10-pound line. I think that was helping a lot. There was lots of little things.
What about the rig? Because obviously you designed the curlew hook.
Yeah.
And you implemented that rig here. That worked very well.
The Mark Two Withy Pool rig we'd just perfected the first year I came here. So I was able to come here with a new rig that the fish hadn't seen before. And I'd had a lot of experience with that rig, and I knew it would work well for me, and I'd redesigned the hook, which Fox has produced, the curlew hook, and that helped as well. The washed out baits, the good rigs, and all the other things I've mentioned.
I mean, obviously we've gone from long hairs to short hairs to tying baits on. Now the majority of the rigs, like that Mark II rig, incorporates a long hook, it incorporates tubing, incorporates a sliding ring. It's almost as though we've turned a full circle, and the bigger mouthful that you can get them to pick up, the more hooking ability the rig's going to have. I mean, do you agree with that theory? Or?
Yeah. The main thing about the Mark II Withy rig is that it's two rigs in one. It creates the bent hook effect without damaging the fish so much, and it's also it's a sliding ring rig as well, which is a good rig. When the fish blows the bait out, the hook is temporarily left behind, just a split second, but enough to throw the rig out of balance and catch the fish. And that, in conjunction with the bent hook effect, which was always a fantastic rig, but it damaged the fish a lot.
Yeah.
Makes it a good rig. But it's not the be-all and end-all of rigs. Next year it will be finished and it will be something else. And I think it's the usual case of keeping one step ahead all the time.
Okay, now what about bait? I mean, I went down to Ringstead with my own bait, brimming with confidence, and you stroked me big time. The nuggets it was the first time I'd seen them. You'd been a bit slippery on me and used them for 2 days before I even knew what you were up to, until I rummaged around your tackle. Because I don't like getting outfished, and when it was 4-0 I thought something's going wrong here on a big fish water. So, I mean, what about the nuggets? Because, you know, I used them for one night. I did catch 3 fish, including a 35 and a 39. You know, they're obviously a bit special, and it is something completely different. So what about the nuggets?
Well, you know, I was very successful here on washed out baits, and then the nuggets came along, and I thought, well, they've not been in here before, and it was a totally new concept, quite a large bait, 22 mil, and high nutritional value. The fish just love them, and
very digestible, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think it was just, again, something totally new. And on the video session that we fished, I didn't really get a chance to get the bait established, but as you saw, they still caught. So yeah, the nuggets are the bait for me for the next season or two. I don't change baits a lot. I don't use 3 or 4 different baits in one year. Once I've got a good bait, I'll use it for a couple of years. Yeah,
I mean, in here I did notice, like in any water, there are fish that don't get caught regularly. There are the mugfish, and there are fish that avoid capture season after season. Now, on the video, a couple of the fish you caught were fish that A, I've never caught, and B, that very, very rarely get caught. Now, I think it was a combination of a different bait and maybe different presentation. It's like anything, a visiting angler can often do well on a circuit water because he does something a little bit different.
Yeah. I think you're right there. You know, I don't fish this that often, and when I do, I'm coming here with different things. Yeah.
So you put a lot of it down to, obviously, you've got to be in the right place. I mean, that's the old, you know, the old story. But
like Brett said, I'm the same. I keep an eye on the fish. You can have a good idea as soon as you arrive. If there's 3 anglers on the other side of the lake, the chances are on this water, all the fish are going to be this side.
Yeah.
Or if they're all at one end, the chances are the fish are going to be the other end. So you've got a good starting point with that theory straight away. And then just keep watching and watching. Get up early in the morning. Don't lay in bed, you know. And
Don't
watch the water.
overcast them is key as well, isn't it?
Yeah, don't overcast like at Ringstead when we made the film there. Overcasting would have killed that, but we had a great session. And yeah, it's just years of experience and applying it to that water.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that's all very interesting. I mean, listen to what you've got to say and what Brett's got to say, because at the end of the day, if you don't learn, you aren't going to improve as an angler. And it's all right watching videos where you're catching loads of fish, but you know, everybody wants to know, including me. And you know, you're still not too old to learn something new. We all want to learn a little bit more, don't we?
I'm not too old.
No, you're not too old. No, at 31, you've still got a few years left in you.